3. Remember when you told me that I should take it slow, but I can't stay when the world is waiting. I'm too used to being on my own. Hearts will break, but I have to chase it.
So our main objective for this trip is to do the Two Lakes Loop. But since we're camping at Tipsaw Campground anyway, we thought we might as well check out the Tipsaw Trail. I think it's a little over 5 miles going around the lake. Oh, showing 5.9 miles. So I think Blaze is ready to go. There's a little bit of water. The topography of the area, the karst topography makes things drain off pretty quickly. Even when it rains a lot, you'll be surprised at how fast everything ends up drying. What do you think, Blaze? Good trail? Yeah? I think so. I would recommend it. So we're back. I had to plug my phone in because I was at like 5%, so we were not going to last much longer. My Garmin watch says 6.6 miles. We did have a little excursion when we took the wrong fork in the road and ended up at one of the campgrounds. And we did also walk down to the beach, so we probably added a little bit, maybe just over a half mile. But all in all, I'd say it's a pretty nice trail. I mean, it's a typical Indiana woodland trail. Did have a couple nice views of the lake. Like I said, we walked down to the beach. You could actually start at the beach and do your hiking, and then in the afternoon, if it's open summertime, spend the rest of your day at the beach. That'd be a great day, I think. The beach has got a nice playground if you had kids. It's got a bathhouse, it looks like. Everything's closed right now, but the beach itself, not super big, but looked like a nice place. A nice place that you could spend a day, and you can access the trail right from the beach parking. For an Indiana trail, I'd say it's probably moderate, partly just because of length. There were a few ups and downs, or some roots and some rocks, but nothing too tricky, and definitely nothing huge elevation-wise. Compared to, you know, a trail out west, or compared to the Appalachian Trail, I would have to say it's a very easy trail. So definitely doable for anybody in moderate fitness, and here in another couple weeks, I have a feeling it's going to be absolutely beautiful with the fall colors. Just starting to see changes right now. I was hoping for a little more, but this is the time I had available, so this is when I came. So this morning we're going to do the Salina loop of the Two Lakes loop. And yesterday when we were on Tipsaw Lake loop, we did not see another person. I'd say we're going to have some company on this one. This is a backpacking trail though, so I suspect some of those people might be backpackers. Definitely have had some trees down, and we're probably not even a mile in. But otherwise the trail's been super nice. So I just talked to a young man who told me that most of the backpacking spots were along the Indian Lake side. But this is just a little over 4 miles, pretty much right at 4 miles from where I parked. It's a nice little spot. It's right by a little creek that we stopped at to take a little snack break, but the creek is very dry. I suspect it's dry most of the time. Teeny tiny little campsite right on one of the little fingers of the lake. We are just under 6 miles in. I don't know that you could really squeeze a tent in there, but hammock would probably work. Here's a nice little campsite overlooking the lake. We are about 6.9 miles in for the direction I went, which means this is just a little over a mile if you were to go the opposite direction. So it would be a good first night if you're getting in late. Looks like there's plenty of room for several tents. Definitely some good hammock spots. Nice to see the parking lot. Alright, well, the Lake Salina part of the Two Lakes Loop is done. It was, by my Garmin watch, 8.83 miles. According to my watch, the elevation or the ascent was 1350, which means the total elevation change would be about 2700. Definitely more up and down going around the lake. I opted to go counterclockwise to leave the lake part for the end because I always like to leave something to look forward to. Honestly, there weren't a lot of really good lake views other than on the dam. The dam was a great view of the whole lake. Again, here in a couple weeks when the leaves are changing, that is just going to be absolutely gorgeous. Still very pretty today. Another nice walk through the woods. A little bit longer than yesterday, hopefully a little bit shorter tomorrow. I was showing 8.1 is what I was expecting today. It was 8.8. It never totally matches up, so I'm not surprised by that. Tomorrow will look to be somewhere a little over 7, so we'll see how that stacks up. But altogether, a really nice, a nice little walk through the woods. Did come across a few backpack sites. I was told that there's a lot more backpacking sites on the Indian Lake Loop. So we will check that out tomorrow, and I guess we will see. Well, somebody's ready to go. So this morning we're going to do the Indian Lake Loop of the Two Lakes Loop. And wow, we've had a lot of color added overnight. It's been pretty cold, been getting down to 30s at night. And I think the colors are going to be popping the next few days. All right, let's go get started on our trail. Because we did this as 2 loops instead of one big loop, we had one short area, about 1.5 miles, that we had to do twice. The area where the 2 loops connect. We just finished that part, and we are heading off into new territory for us. Getting ready to head around Indian Lake. Getting close to the lake, and the trail's pretty overgrown. I'm guessing it's just in the low areas as we're going around the lake. Still a pretty easy trail to follow, though. Little patch of pawpaws. It's supposed to be good eating if you can keep the deer to them. Oh, look. They have water down there. How about that? This is going to be, I think, the 5th tick I pull up of him. Little tiny ones. So we'll just past that bridge that we crossed that had a little bit of water. Even in dry October here. There's a nice camp area here. It's right beside another creek. Doesn't look like there's water in there, but definitely a peaceful area. Happy boy, found some water. We have made it back to where we're going to be doing just a little bit more overlap from what we did yesterday, but not much at all. That means we're very close to the end. Last little bit. You ready to be done, Blaze? I think I am. My feet are a little tired. So we've now completed the entirety of the Two Lakes Loop. With the completion of the Indian Lake Loop today. I enjoyed both loops. I really did. They both ended up being just a little bit longer, at least as far as what my Garmin watch was saying. I think Indian Lake Loop was supposed to be 7.5 when I mapped it out with Gaia, so who knows what's actually correct, whether Gaia is correct or the Garmin watch is correct. I found the watch to be fairly accurate, but it was showing around 8.5 when we were done. The total ascent, I think, was around 1,300, so very, very close to what we did yesterday. I did find today there was a lot more overgrown parts, which made it a little more challenging. It is late in the year. That's not uncommon for trails to get a little bit overgrown. The thing that was kind of bad about this is there was a lot of multiflora rose, which, if you're familiar with that at all, it's got some pretty good thorns on it. So it was a little challenging at spots. There were some trees down, but altogether a pretty nice trail. Beautiful, beautiful lake. I think it'd be a really nice lake to camp around and kayak. I did not bring my kayak this time, but pretty lake. Not a lot of views along the trail itself other than at the dam. Same thing that we had yesterday. The dam was the good views, but they were absolutely spectacular views. So well worth the hike. I would recommend both. If you're backpacking, I would have to say that the Indian Lake Loop, if you're only going to do one loop, the Indian Lake Loop would be the one to do. There were several really nice campsites, some small, some big. I tried to get pictures and video where I could. The absolute best one, there were people out, so I didn't get good picture. Super, super cool with a rock overhang. I didn't really get to explore it. Like I said, there were people there, and there were people there with a dog. And Blaze, he did really good for his first camping trip, but he's just not a fan of especially other male dogs. So we just kind of passed on by, but that looks like it would be a super cool place. Have one more hike planned for tomorrow before we head home. We are going to go visit Hemlock Cliffs. It'll just be a short hike. I think it's about 20 minutes from here. So. This is the Jack Pine Loop of Tipsaw Campground. We stayed in Jack Pine 3, which was pretty nice for a tent site. I don't know that I would, I guess it depends a little bit. If you had a camper, the only downside would be that you'd have to walk down to where the picnic table and the fire pit were a few steps. That's where my tent was, so I had my tent close to the picnic table and the campfire, which wasn't too bad. But if you had a camper, you'd have to park up on the pad, which would mean you'd have to walk down to the picnic table. So don't know if that'd be a big deal or not, but that was the only downside. Otherwise, a pretty private site, fairly level. I mean, it's pretty hilly country here, so not always able to get completely level, but altogether pretty nice. So apparently you can camp at the entrance to the road that goes back to Hemlock Cliffs. Looks like a dispersed campsite up to 14 days. That's kind of cool. I know people are always looking for dispersed sites. Doesn't look terribly exciting, but be a nice place to stay in the woods and just get away from things. And so this ends another beautiful fall Southern Indiana adventure.